Good morning, church. So if you want to follow the story I'm going to tell today, you can go to 2 Kings chapter 5. So the story I want to tell is about a little girl. And this little girl worked very hard in her whole life. You know, today we talk about Cinderella and how hard she worked. Well, this little girl worked very hard in her life. And she loved her mom and dad. Her mom and dad raised her very carefully. Every day they had Bible stories that they shared and they sang every day. But during that time, under the leadership of Elisha, the prophet, the kingdoms changed. And Syria took over Israel. And this little girl was stolen away. How would it feel to be stolen away and taken far from your mom and dad and put into a home? You didn't even know the people. You may not have known the language, and they did not have the same understanding of God that we serve. So this little girl, she tried to do her very best. She would wash the dishes for Lady Naaman. And then she would clean and dust. She would clean and dust. How many of you dust at your house? Yes, I love to dust. And then she would help clean the chariot. Okay, how many of you have this for your car? Okay, all right, she would clean the chariot. And then in that country, and even today, they had wonderful fruit. So she would bring fruit to Lady Naaman. Now, Lady Naaman was the wife of a high official in the government of Syria, Captain Naaman. So she would bring fruit. Do you think she peeled it for her or cut it in special ways? I think that she did. I love to cut oranges in a special way so they're easy to eat. And then one day, she saw Lady Naaman crying. Little Maid brought her a glass of water. She thought maybe that would be helpful to her. But she also then brought her a handkerchief. Now, in those days, they didn't have Kleenex like we do today. That's it, yeah. So she brought her a handkerchief, and Lady Naaman was so sad because her husband was sick. How many of you have had somebody sick in your family? I think almost all of us. But this kind of sickness, I'm a nurse, and it is a very hard disease to cure. It's called leprosy. And there can be white spots all over the body, and the skin starts to rot. The skin gets a sore, and it doesn't heal. And it can spread to other people. It's very infectious. We call that in nursing. So he would have to be away from family and friends so that he would not infect them. But you know, little Maid, who did she serve? She served the Lord, the God in heaven. And she said that Captain Naaman should go see the prophet Elisha and see the king, and he would be healed. And the Bible says, little Maid said, thus and thus. She told the story. She told the story of how Prophet Elijah could help. So I looked it up. It was a very far away place for him to go. And he went about as far as we drive to Seattle, about 250 miles. So you imagine that with the horses and the chariot and the footmen and everybody that went along with him. It would take a while to get there. And he went there, and Elisha did not even go himself. He sent someone out to tell him, go to the river Jordan and wash in the river 7 times. What do you think that proud government official felt like? Yuck. Yuck. No, I don't want to do that. Do you know the rivers in Syria were very beautiful? They had gardens around them, and they also had places of heathen worship. So that would have been very easy for Captain Naaman to go there and wash and get clean. But that's not where God sent him. Sometimes God sends us to different places than we expect. So his guards and his footmen said, oh, come on, let's do it. So he finally chose to do it. And how many times, Harrison, did he dip? 7. And every time he came up, he'd look. Those spots were still there. Oh, no. But he was faithful. God was working on his heart all this time. And he was healed on the 7th time. Now, what kind of skin did he have? Clean skin, skin like a baby. So I'm a baby nurse, and you know what babies have, very soft skin. His skin was that of a little child. So God not only healed him, but he showed him in a very special way. So what happened? Okay, so he drove back his chariots another 250 miles to get home to little Maid and Lady Naaman. Do you think they were happy? And not only that, what happened to Captain Naaman's heart? He chose to worship God in heaven. He even brought soil from the land of Israel so that he could kneel on the soil from the Israelites. So God works in our hearts, and let us be thinking of how we want to reach out to others in this community. You're many times wanting to do that, and even the children can be faithful.